Hey everyone, it's time for another edition of Bacon in Your Jammies. Today we're going to be making carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. Oh boy, this has become a highly requested birthday cake in my house, and we've had lots of birthdays this summer, and so I've made this several times and kind of tweaked it each time that I've made it, and so I'm going to be showing you kind of my favorite tricks of the trade here to make carrot cake. So our cast of characters for carrot cake are going to be oil, and I'm using canola oil. You can certainly use vegetable oil, and I have to tell you a secret. I did make a batch of carrot cake cupcakes, and all I had was olive oil, and they turned out just fine. So I've always been afraid to use olive oil in baking, but they were fine. So I'm using canola oil today, and then 3 eggs, and then we have flour and baking powder and salt, and then cinnamon, nutmeg. Those are the traditional spices that go in carrot cake. And then I am putting in 2 cups of shredded carrots. Now I use regular big fat old carrots, and this time of the year you can get carrots at the farmer's market. They are the very best. You can use baby carrots, but a couple of things. Number one, it takes forever to grate those little babies, and they're just not as good. They're just they're in the middle part of a big carrot. So I like to use regular big old carrots. And you don't have to peel them. You can just wash them, scrub them up good, and then grate them. And I grate them with kind of a medium grate on my grater. There's the the big grater, and they make almost slivers of carrots. They're a little bit too big. I do like to see what things I'm putting in my cakes when I bake them, so I don't want them pulverized. And be careful if you're using your food processor that you don't make carrot juice. So you want to see the carrot in there. So I use kind of this medium grate on my grater, but I do grate them by hand. So 2 cups of carrots, and then I use crushed pineapple. Now the recipe calls for a cup of Dole pineapple in the juice. Here's my secret. I use fresh, and it's so much better. Now you certainly can use canned pineapple, but I use fresh pineapple, and then I just cut it. I put it in a bowl and I cut it with my baking scissors. So I cut it up, and so they're much bigger pieces than if it's crushed up in the can. But either is just fine, and you do want the juice with it. So a cup of crushed pineapple. And then you can use you can put other things in it. You can put in sweetened coconut, you can put in pecans or other nuts, and you can put in raisins. I love raisins in my carrot cake, but nobody else does. So I get overruled and I don't put raisins in it, but you certainly can. And you just keep, just add what you like and make this recipe your own. I think that's everything for the cake itself. And then of course for the cream cheese frosting, we're going to need butter, powdered sugar, cream cheese, and a little bit of vanilla. So we'll get to all the details as we go along. So first things first, we're going to put in 1.25 cups of the canola oil in my mixing bowl. So I have 1.25 cups. Now you can, and I've never done this, but you can, if you don't like to use oil, you can use applesauce, and that I think is a good substitute. I just have never done that. So 1.25 cups of oil, and then 2 cups of sugar, and that's just white sugar. So 2 cups of sugar, and then 3 eggs, and I've had my eggs out at room temperature, and they're already cracked. So 3 eggs, and then we're going to mix that up. And you don't need to whip this, just mix it till it's incorporated. Alrighty, that's come together just great. And now we're going to put our dry ingredients in a separate bowl. So we're going to use 2 cups of flour, and it's just all-purpose flour. So 2 cups of flour, and then it's a teaspoon of soda. Well, come on. A teaspoon of soda, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and then our spices of teaspoon of cinnamon, and a quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Now, if you're a real nutmeg lover, you can put in more than that, but really just a little touch of that of nutmeg is great. And then, I'm missing something here. Oh, salt, a half teaspoon of salt. And I don't have mine out, so we're gonna use my shaker here. So a half teaspoon of salt. Alrighty, so that's our dry ingredients. We're just gonna use our whisk here and just mix that together so it's all evenly mixed up. All right, then I have prepared in my third bowl my 2 cups of carrots, my cup of why do I keep wanting to say shredded? Crushed pineapple, and a teaspoon of vanilla, okay? So we're gonna first add the dry into the wet. So I'm just gonna turn my mixer on and very carefully, because we know what happens when we do this too fast, we're gonna add the flour mixture with all of our spices into our sugar and oil and eggs. You don't need to overmix this. Just want to mix it until it's all come together nice. Now, I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees and I have my pans prepared. I'm going to use 2 9-inch pans. You can use a 9x13 pan, or you can use an 8-inch pan, but it actually will fill 3 8-inch pans, and it's really pretty. This is a really pretty cake when you cut it. So you can do 3 layers if you want, or you can take your 2 9-inch layers and cut them in half and make 4 layers. Then I would suggest making a double recipe of the frosting so that you get plenty of that good cream cheese frosting in between all the layers. But I'm going to use my 9-inch pans today. I have just sprayed them with my cooking spray, and they're ready to go. Okay, this is mixed plenty. And now I'm just going to fold in my pineapple and carrots and vanilla. Alright, get all the good stuff off there. I'm just going to scrape down my sides here just to make sure that all of that flour from the bottom is mixed in, and that looks really good. Okay, now I've got my isn't it pretty? Pineapple and carrots. We're just going to fold that all in. And in that I have a teaspoon of vanilla also. Okay, we're just going to fold that in. Oh my gosh, this is pretty. And it smells really good. That fresh pineapple, you just can't beat it. It gets really nice and moist. And just fold that in. And then we put it in our baking pans. Now, the temperature again is at 350. If you're going to use 8-inch pans, it says, oh gosh, I've lost my glasses. 25 to 30 minutes for 8-inch pan, and for 9-inch pan, 35 to 40 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. You don't want to overbake it because then it's going to get dry. So just watch it till it's pulling away from the sides of the pan. And if you have a cake tester or use a toothpick, that when you insert it, it comes out clean. So let's get baking, and we'll come back and we'll frost our cakes. Okay, so our cakes are all cooled, and I have let them cool for about 10 or 15 minutes in the pan, and then I took them out and I put the bottom layer on the cake plate that I want to serve it on, and I have the top ready to go too. So they're out of the pans and they're totally cooled. Now we're going to make the frosting. So I have 1 stick of softened butter and 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese, and I have started to whip that together. You just want that to be really nice and creamy. So I'm going to just turn that back on again. And then I'm going to add in my vanilla. So a teaspoon of vanilla. Pound of powdered sugar. Now, I have a 2-pound bag, so it's about half of the bag. And I'm going to just start adding that in as I've got this whipping. You just want to keep adding your powdered sugar a little bit at a time. Turn it up a little bit. And you just just want this to be really thick and fluffy and yummy. That cream cheese is just going to make it so nice and rich. Just add a little bit at a time. And just let it get all nice and mixed in there. Now, there's ways you could buy a 1 pound bag, because it's just the whole bag. Alright, so I have about a half a bag in there now. I'm just going to give this a good whip. Alrighty, I'm going to scrape down my sides and then give it one more good mix. Oh, yummy. Okay, just gonna whip this for 30 seconds or so and just give it a really good mix. You want it to be really smooth. Now, if it gets too thick, you can add a couple of drops of milk and just thin it until it's the right consistency. Okay, fluffy and yummy, and I think we're good to go. So I'm going to start by just putting a big glob here in the middle for my middle layer. Can't help it. And I'm just using an offset spatula, but you can just use a knife or spoon or whatever. And just bring that to the edge. And then we've got our other layer ready to go. Okay. This is the tricky part, because this is really moist, and so you just need to be careful because it might just kind of fall apart. We've got it good to go here, and we're just going to put it on top. Oh, perfectly wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to keep frosting. We're going to frost the top next, and then the sides, and you can decorate it any way you want. Some people like to put chopped pecans as a decoration. You can put those up on the side. You can use a pastry bag and make it pretty. You can put pecans on the top of it, toasted. If you are going to use nuts, pecans are really yummy. And if you just toast them a little bit in a frying pan, oh, that just brings out the flavor. So if you like pecans, you can do that. You can decorate with a little bit of coconut. But I'm just going to make mine plain, and I'll come back and show you what our finished product looks like. Okay, there you have it. Here's my finished product. It's just a plain frosted, wonderfully delicious, because I've tasted all the crumbs, carrot cake with cream cheese frosting. Enjoy.